So I'm going to go through a few stretches to help take pressure and pain out of the knees. I work with a lot of different people who either cross train or do things from tennis to running, to a lot of jumping or skiing, and knee pain is something that always comes up. A lot of times it's actually not coming from the knee, it's actually coming from an imbalance in the hips, whether it be there's somewhere that's not doing enough work and so another part of your body's compensating, or if it's just a matter of, hey, I'm not having the flexibility and the natural healthy range of motion in order to not have pain in my knees. So we're going to address the idea of, hey, you know what, there's not enough space in my hips and there's something tugging where it's not supposed to be. How do I get looser hips to help take pressure out of the knees? So that's what we're going to work on today. Okay, so for this first one, if this is 100% impossible, you're going to do exactly what I'm doing, but in a chair. So you're going to have a sit down. One leg is going to be at the bottom, so if you're in a chair, this is the one that's dangling off the seat. The other ankle, if it's available, what you're going to do is you're going to bring the ankle bone right outside of the kneecap. If this is totally unavailable and obnoxious, instead of trying to drag it out that far, boom, shin to shin. Wherever you are, I want your toes pointing towards one another. All right? So I'm going to bring it out here outside my kneecap. Boom, toes are pointing. And if you're already thinking, holy hell, this is crazy, hang out. You don't need any more tension. If you can still find more tension, what you're going to do is get an inhale, really long lower back. Make sure both of your sit bones or your butt are on the floor. And you're just going to start reaching your chest forward to the long lower back. You're going to keep going until you find the desired tension. We're not going into pain land, we're just going to slight discomfort land. So whatever that is for you, you're going to find that spot. You're going to take some really deep, slow, long inhales and exhales. Once you've had enough of this, you're going to stay wherever you are as far as how shallow. So if you're up here, stay here. If you're down here with me, stay low. You're going to walk your hands away from the hip where you're feeling the most tension. Most people it's going to be that top leg. Some people it actually shifts into that other hip. Wherever the most tension is, you're going to walk your hands away from it, and you're going to literally kind of claw and drag your chest away. Again, make sure both your sit bones are on the ground and that top hip is not picking up. Again, maybe take about 10 deep long inhales and exhales. Let yourself create a little extra room. For this next one, if you have it available, I'm just going to do it this way, but if I was doing it by myself, I would just actually be hanging out on the wall, and I would split my legs as wide as I possibly can. And same thing goes. Use your hands to get a really long and tall lower back. Both sit bones are evenly on the ground. And if this is enough for you, hang out. If you still want more, you're going to start reaching forward. Wherever you are, same thing goes with the toes. I want them flexed up towards your head. And a nice stretch there on the inner groin. Deep long inhales. Every inhale gets to the nice long lower back. Every exhale, if it's available, you're crawling forward on this. So same thing here, go about 10 breaths on this one. Next here, we're going to come to a nice kneeling stance. Your back toe is going to be nicely tucked in directly behind your hip, which happens to be directly above your kneecap. You're going to tighten this butt cheek here. You're going to pull up, tighten the belly, and with all this energy pulling upwards, you're going to slide forward. And honestly, you actually, if you're tightening up so much and actually flexing your muscles and inhaling long, you're not going to actually have to slide that far forward to actually get a really nice stretch here. Wherever you are, just make sure that your hips are straight. When in doubt, put your hands on your hips, on your hip bones. Make sure they're nice and even. Every inhale, think about pulling up. Every exhale, slide forward against your own butt tension here. Get a nice long stretch. And if it feels good, you can actually kind of do a gentle pulse with that breath. So every inhale, lift. Every exhale, inhaling to rise. And exhale, about 10 breaths there. From here, we're just going to lengthen out this kneeling stance here to your lizard pose. So the back leg is going to stay basically the same, toes tucked in. The only thing that we're actually changing is that we're just lengthening out this front leg and creating as much space as we can in between both legs. And the same thing goes, every inhale gets a long space in the lower back, and every exhale that's available, keep shimmying into this. If you still have room actually in this hip over here, you're gonna actually let this foot flop to the outer edge. And keep this bottom thigh facing towards the ground as much as you can. And take a few breaths there. We're gonna go through another stretch here. So, come to kneeling. You're gonna take one foot, you're gonna line up the heel and the knee in one spot. The back foot, you're gonna kick it out slightly at an angle there. Your hips, same thing that we did in that kneeling stance. You're gonna place your hands on your hips, use it to shift you and get your hips forward. And as you do that, a lot of people, if you're crazy tight, what's gonna happen is this knee's gonna cave in like that. I want you to work on keeping this open. If it's really helpful for you, hang on here. You're not aggressively pushing it because you're gonna hurt you. You're just ever so gently guiding it, and you're ever so gently guiding your hip. So on an inhale, you're coming up. On an exhale, you're lunging down into it. Inhaling to rise, and exhale, sink. And you're going literally this slow, and this control, and your goal is to keep this knee open while this hip stays nice and open. Go 10 pulses here on this side, and then switch everything over, do everything on the other side. So you're gonna go that knee shin to shin pose, whether you're sitting on a chair on the floor, your split leg, your half kneeling stretch, your lizard, and then this kind of warrior two knee-ish pull situation. Once you get this done, I would actually really highly recommend you actually right after follow it up with some stability to work on, hey, this was awesome, I created a lot of space, my hips feel really mobile and great, but now that you have all this mobility that your body's maybe not so used to having, you need to work on stabilizing it so that things will start tightening up again. You have really tight hips, which then pull on your knees. All right, I hope you found it really helpful. Ciao.